The next example, we will talk about the list sequence container. The list sequence container, of course, we need to use the header list. They allow you to insert or delete operation at any location of the container. So the reason earlier we talked about, for the array or vector, they all based on the array implementation. So that's why you will see the vector earlier, we only can push back. But when we implement the list in the C++ STL library, we use a linked list. So the linked list we kind of talked about earlier, right? So in the chapter 7, we show you have the node, so you can use the pointer to access to the next node. But here the list, they are even better than the one direction linked list. So in each node, so we show what means the doubly linked list. So for the list, actually this orange square, that's mean each node. So before we only have the next pointer point to the next node, right? That's the singly linked list we introduced in chapter 7. But when we implement the list, they're using the doubly linked list. So on the other hand is that not only they have the next pointer, they also have the prev pointer. So that's why they can both access the next element and the prev element. So that's why here is we call the doubly linked list. So that's why here in the list, it's easier to add the node at the beginning, at the end, or anywhere, because they just need to add a new node. So the next node point to the new one. So then the prev node point to the new one. So that's the list. So when you decide to use the list, is the algorithm required to input-output. They want to forward or backward. They need to have bi-direction iterator. So that's very good choice for the list. Because many list member function, they maintain the element in the container in the order of the set of the element. So addition to all the member function we talked about earlier, we have the begin, end, cbegin, swap, clear, and empty. They are all in the list, but they even have more. They have spilers. They have the push from, pop from, right? Remember before in vector, we only have push and pop end. You can remove, or you can remove any location, remove a specific situation, or you can have a unique. You even can merge two lists together. You can reverse. You can sort a list. So that's many additional member function you can get from the list. So in the link we provide here, you can see more information about the list. So in the next example, we will show you, in example 4, we will demonstrate more feature about the list. You can see they can do the sort, they can be merged, they can be unique, they can be swap. So all the different member function we will see. And also you can see you can push from and pop from. So in this example, you will see we create the same thing we have in an array. So then we have the list. We create two lists. You can push the list element, push to the front or push to the back. So before I show you other member function, because we need to print the list content many times. So let me go over the template function to print list. So you will see the same thing. They look like earlier we have print vector, right? You pass in your list reference. But because list can be any data type, we need to write a template function. But here, that's using different way to print. Of course, we can use the iterator that before. But now, since earlier in the example 3, we show you the copy algorithm. So the copy algorithm, they were using the iterator, the range for the iterator. So then you can just have the list reference we pass in here. You just give them the beginning and the end. So then you specify your output iterator string. So here we just have our old string iterator. So then we're using this output for the cout. So in order to separate the element one by one, so each element will display a space in between. So that's also the other way how you will print the content for the list or any container we can use in the copy function from the algorithm library. Of course, the beginning you can check. You see here we have the empty member function. If that empty, so we don't do anything, we just display the list is empty. Otherwise, you will display the content. So that's the other way we can implement the display content for the template library. So after we push from and push end for the 4 values, so that's why you can run the program. They will display in the order. So that's why earlier you see you push from 1, 2, push back 4, 3. So that's why they will do the output will be what? Right? Because you put at the front, right? So you 1 first, then 2 continue and from. Then you are back at the end, you are 3 at the end. Okay, so that's why that's your print for the push from and push back. Also remember you push from, you always push at the beginning, so that's why 2 before 1. So your push back always at the end, so that's why 3 is after 4. But then also you see we have the sort function can call. After you call the sort function, they will become 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one thing I want to show you. See here, you can call the sort member function. So then your data can be in the sorted order. But of course, the reason you have the sorted order can do is your data to save. If that's user-defined data, you need to make sure you will implement the greater or the less than operator function. Okay, so you also can sort your data. And also we have the insert. So the insert, you are not only can insert one element. The insert actually you can insert at a location and a range. So that's why here when we insert more value into our other value list, they will start from beginning. Then they were using the ints. The ints actually is earlier our array. So did you see here we have an array called ints. So then you can have the begin and the end. So that's why here your other value they will add all the array element one by one. Okay, so then you can try to see the output. So the next one you see the splice. The splice, one thing is you will see here, you will specify where you want to add at the end. So then actually they will, splice actually is move the content from the other values list, go to the values one. So that's why after we splice the other value list into the end of values, you can see you try to display the values and your other values will be gone. So that's the splice member function. So in this example, I want you to try is you see the sort and insert. You can have multiple overloaded function and you can have the splice. And the other one, you also have the merge. So the merge, actually, they will merge from the source list to the target list. They will remove all the other value elements and they will merge into the current list. And also after they merge, you will see they will be in a sorted order. So that's also you can have merge two lists together. So earlier we also show you the push from and the push back. So you also have pop from and the pop back. So that's all you need to run the program to see what they have. And also I want you to see the unique, actually they will remove the duplicate element. And you can do the swap. So when we swap, before we did swap element with element, right? But here actually the swap is swap the list. So that means actually they swap all the element from the value and other values. So that's why you can see here the list is have much more member function. They can support multiple features other than the vector. So when you run the program, please make sure you will check one by one to make sure you understand how each function works. And also because some of that you see after the merge on the list, the source list, they will be empty. So that's why the reason we show you here with display, when we display the list, we show the list is empty. So after the merge, actually they have the other values all going to the values list. And you see after they are empty, right? So then after we swap, you see become the values contain the empty list. So that's our example for the list.